Hello dears, in this class we will discuss about the speed of the waves and the superposition of the waves. So, let us take the first case. We already know that the speed of the waves can be written as v is equal to lambda times nu, where lambda is the wavelength of the wave and nu is its frequency. So, this is the formula for the speed of the waves in general. This can also be put in different forms just as this. Frequency, this is written as 2 pi upon t, not the frequency but omega. So, it is written as 2 pi t or it is written as 2 pi nu. So, from here we can substitute the value of nu. The value of frequency nu, it comes out to be omega upon 2 pi. So, therefore, the value of velocity comes out to be lambda into nu, which is omega upon 2 pi. And from here it is written as omega into lambda upon 2 pi. And because we know that 2 pi upon lambda, it is nothing but the wave number, which we write as k, small k, and therefore it is lambda upon 2 pi. So, it is 1 upon k. So, therefore, velocity becomes equal to omega upon k. So, this is another formula for the speed of the waves. We can take simple question on this. Question is, there is a bat which emit the ultrasonic sound waves, and here it is given that the ultrasonic sound waves emitted by a bat are having the frequency 1500 hertz, kilohertz. So, it is the frequency of the ultrasonic sound wave emitted by a bat, and it is given that the speed of the sound in air, it is 340 meter per second, it is given, right. Then we have to find out the wavelength of the sound waves emitted by the bats. So, we make use of this formula simply because velocity, it is given as lambda into nu. So, which simply gives us lambda, the wavelength, to be v upon nu. Now, the velocity is 340 divided by the frequency, it is 1500 kilohertz. So, we simply have to solve this and we can get the velocity found. So, I leave this up to you. Okay. Similarly, we can also take another case of speed of the waves. So, we already know that the sound waves are of two kinds. One is transverse waves, other one are the longitudinal waves. So, what are transverse and longitudinal waves? In case of transverse waves, whenever wave travel through the medium, the particles of the medium, suppose that wave is traveling in this direction, then the particles of the medium will have a motion or oscillatory motion in a direction perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. Particles will oscillate in a perpendicular direction to the direction in which the wave is traveling. So, such kind of waves are called as transverse waves. And longitudinal waves, transverse wave, examples of the transverse wave are the waves created in the water, just as the case, and light, it is also a kind of transverse wave. And what are longitudinal waves? Just like sound, the motion of the particles, or we can say periodic motion of the particles, is always along the direction of the propagation of the sound wave, because particles oscillate in this direction alone. Such kind of waves are called as longitudinal waves. So, now at first hand we will take the speed of the transverse waves. So, transverse wave can travel through different media. If the transverse wave are traveling through a string which is stretched, so through a string which is stretched, if the waves are traveling through a string which is stressed, then its velocity of these waves, these waves will be transverse waves, and the velocity of these waves will be written as T upon mu under root, where T is the tension in the string. More is the tension in the string, that with more force, if the string is stressed, more will be the tension, and more is the tension, more will be the velocity. More is the value of mu. Mu is the linear mass density. What is linear mass density? The mass of one unit length of the string, that is the linear mass density. So, it will be reciprocal to the velocity of the transverse wave will be reciprocal to the speed, or we can say linear mass density of the string. So, these are the two factors which play very important role here. The units for mu are nothing but, because it is the mass, mass per unit length. So, it is kilogram per meter, it is measured in kilogram per meter. So, this is about the speed of the sound waves, or we can say waves which are of transverse nature in a stressed string. We can also put this formula for the velocity of the transverse waves in a stressed string in a different way in terms of the density of the string, right. So, the formula for we can express it in terms of the density as here. So, this is the mass per unit length. So, which is equal to volume of string per unit length. This will be equal to volume of the string per unit length multiplied by its density. So, which is equal to pi r square into rho. So, the value of mu remains is equal to pi r square into rho, where rho is the density of the string and r is its radius, which measures the thickness actually. So, therefore, the velocity can be written as T upon pi r square into rho under the root. So, this is another way in which we can put the velocity of the transverse wave in a stressed string. So, on what factors this depend? Number one, it depends upon the tension in the string. More is the tension, more will be the velocity. Second factor is the density. More is the density of the medium, or we can say string, more will be lesser will be the velocity. So, therefore, V is proportional to 1 upon rho under root. And third factor is the radius of the string. That means, the speed of the transverse wave will be more in case of a thin string. In case of a thin string, the transverse wave will travel faster. For this reason, the speed of the sound is more in case of aluminum, because its density is less than the density of the iron. The density of iron, it is 7.9 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter cube, and in case of aluminum, density is 2.7 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter cube. So, in this slide we see that the density of aluminum is less. So, therefore, the transverse wave will travel faster in the aluminum than in comparison to the iron. Let us take one question here. There is a steel wire which is of 3 mm thickness, or we can say diameter is 3 mm. It is under a tension of 2 Newton. Then we have to find out the speed of transverse waves in this wire, which is of density 7.9 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter cube. So, what are given? Let us write these things first. So, it is given that R is equal to d by 2, which is equal to 3 mm divided by 2, which is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter. In terms of meter, it is written as this. Density, it is already given 7.9 into 10 to the power 3 kilogram per meter cube, and the tension is 2 Newton. So, therefore, velocity can be written as T upon pi r square into rho. When we substitute the values here T is the tension. So, when we substitute all these values here, we can get the speed of the transverse wave in this steel wire to be 189.3 meter per second. So, questions are quite simple to solve. Now, we can talk about the speed of the longitudinal waves. So, speed of the longitudinal waves are given by through a medium, they are given by V is equal to under root of E upon rho, where rho is the density of that medium through which the longitudinal waves are traveling, just like sound waves, and E is the modulus of elasticity. It is a constant for that medium. In solids, modulus of elasticity, and rho is the density of the medium. In solids, the modulus of elasticity is written as y. So, therefore, speed of the sound wave becomes y upon rho under the root in solids. And in case of liquids, or we can say gases, the speed, because modulus of elasticity for fluids, the liquids and we can say gases, is bulk modulus. So, therefore, it is written as k upon rho under root in case of liquids and gases. So, that simply means because solids, they have higher value of Young's modulus, or as well as the density is higher. So, therefore, the velocity of the we can say longitudinal waves is lesser in case of solids and higher in case of liquids and gases. But density is not the term which we require to compare in solids and liquids. It is actually this modulus of elasticity. In case of solid, it is y, and in case of liquid and gases, it is k. So, therefore, because the value of y is more in case of solids than liquids, so therefore, sound travel faster in case of solids. So, this is the correct comparison. We can compare the density when we compare the density of one solid with the other density, or we are comparing the speed of the longitudinal waves in one solid or the other solid. Then we also take the case of this density. Okay. So, now these are the expression for the speed of the longitudinal waves in case of, I can say, solids and in case of liquids. We can take simple numerical here in order to understand this, how to make use of this formula. It is given that in case of water, the bulk modulus, it is given to be 2 into 10 to the power 9 Newton per meter square. So, therefore, the speed of the sound wave, or we can say longitudinal wave, of course, sound waves are also the longitudinal waves. So, same formula will act for the sound waves here. So, therefore, velocity can be calculated as k upon rho under the root. So, value of k, it becomes equal to 2 into 10 to the power 9, and the density of water, it is 10 to the power 3. So, whenever we make this calculation, the velocity comes out to be 1414 meter per second. Newton has made an attempt to measure or calculate the speed of the sound in air medium. So, the general formula for the speed of the sound in air medium, it is equal to square root of the bulk modulus divided by density of the air. So, if we know the bulk modulus for the air, which happen because Newton has made derivation for the formula based on his some assumption. What he assumed, that while sound travels, sound is a longitudinal wave. So, when sound travels in a medium, it creates regions of compression and regions of rarefaction, right. So, in these compressions and rarefactions, what happened? Newton said that while sound travels in compressions, where the air molecules have come closer, right, the heat of the, we can say, this region has increased. So, this increased heat is given to the surrounding. it is exchanged with the surrounding. And when it is rarefaction, the molecules of the air move apart from each other. In that case also the heat, or we can say heat is lost, or we can say it is gained by the surrounding. Sorry, not surrounding but rarefaction. So that simply means, according to Newton, that during compression heat is given to the surrounding, and during rarefaction heat is taken from the surrounding. So in this case what happens, the temperature, by doing so the temperature of the air, it remains constant, because temperature it remains constant, because during compression whatever heat is generated, it will increase the temperature, but it is shared to the surrounding, so therefore temperature remains same. Also in rarefactions, whenever molecules move wide apart, temperature will decrease, so therefore the rarefaction will take the heat from the surrounding, hence temperature again is same. So that means during the propagation of the sound wave through the air medium, the temperature it remains constant, means it is an isothermal process. So if it is an isothermal process, so therefore we have to find out the value of K and make the calculation for the velocity. And for isothermal process, we know that PV it is equal to constant. Suppose that initially pressure is P and the volume is V. Then pressure changes to P plus dP and volume changes from V minus dV. When volume changes by dV amount, pressure changes by dP, and volume decreases and pressure increases, that means Boyle's law at constant temperature means isothermal process. So this is Boyle's law is applicable here. So now Boyle's law simply says that the product of P and V, it will be constant as from here. So therefore at an initial point, whatever the product of pressure and volume, it will be equal to the product of pressure and volume at any other point of time. So therefore PV it will be equal to P plus dP multiplied by V minus dV. So when we simplify this, we get P into V on the right hand side, left hand side it is P into V, on the right hand side we multiplying are getting PV minus P dV plus V dP and minus dP dV. Now because dP and dV, variation in the pressure and variation in the volume are small enough, and it is this term, it is the multiplication of these two terms, so which become rather small. So therefore we just drop this term and we consider only these terms. In this PV just cancels out with PV, right, and we are left with only this term on the one side. So therefore minus P dV is equal to V, not equal to but plus V dV. Here it is a P dV and V dP actually. So this is P dV plus V dP, this is equal to 0, because on the other hand side it is 0. So when we solve this, what we get? We get P is equal to delta P or dP divided by dP is the pressure that has been created, this comes out to be delta V upon V. We just arrange this equation, we find P from here. So it comes out to be this. So it is the ratio of change in pressure per unit change in volume for per unit change in volume, in change in volume per unit original volume. So this quantity is nothing but the bulk modulus. So therefore according to Newton, the value of bulk modulus comes out to be equal to P, the pressure at which the propagation is taking place. So therefore this formula gets converted to V is equal to K, which is simply P upon rho under the root. At standard temperature and pressure, P is nothing but 1.05 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per meter square. And density of the air, it is 1.293 kilogram per meter cube. So, whenever we substitute these values, the velocity of the sound in air, it comes out to be, after calculation, 280 meter per second. But actually practically, or we can say experimentally, the speed of the sound wave has been measured to be 332 or meter per second. So, that means whatever velocity of the sound wave has been calculated by Newton by considering the temperature to be a constant during the propagation of the sound wave, it is very much different from what is found experimentally. So, that means there is something wrong with the Newton's assumption that during the propagation of the sound wave in air, the temperature remains constant. Then Laplace in 1816, who was a French scientist, makes this correction that the propagation of the sound wave through the air, it is not an isothermal process, temperature does not remain constant, right. So, what is Laplace correction regarding the measurement of the speed of the sound in the air? So, Laplace corrected that Newton's considering the temperature to be constant is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because if in compression the heat is taken and in rarefaction heat is given in compression heat is given to the surrounding and in rarefaction heat is taken from the surrounding. This cannot happen because the speed of the sound experimentally measured, it is 332 meter per second, which is very large. So, there is no time for we can say heat exchange in compression and rarefaction. So, temperature cannot remain constant. Actually, there is no exchange of heat with the surrounding. So, the process is adiabatic and not isothermal. So, it is an adiabatic process because the speed of the sound is so large in the air, every second it travels 332 meters. So, which is very large. So, there is no time for heat exchange between air and the surrounding during compression and rarefaction. So, because there is no possibility of heat exchange, so it is an adiabatic process. So, if it is an adiabatic process, then he found the value of K, the bulk modulus for air, by considering the equation for adiabatic process, which is P into V to the power gamma, it remains constant, where gamma is nothing but Cp upon Cv. So, from here he found the value of the we can say bulk modulus. From here he just differentiated. So, when differentiated, it becomes P into gamma dV P into V to the power gamma minus 1 into dV into gamma minus 1. Sorry, it is just gamma here, and plus V to the power gamma into dP. This on the other side it is constant, so it will become differentiation of some constant will become 0. So, on solving this equation, what he got, that gamma into P, it just takes this form of dP upon minus dV upon V, which is the, again this ratio is nothing but this equation has been transformed into this by finding the value of gamma into P from here. It comes out to be dP upon dV upon V. So, it is the pressure applied per unit pressure, or we can say stress per unit. dV upon V is, it is nothing but change in volume per unit original volume, this is the strain. So, it measures the bulk modulus. So, from here the bulk modulus from Laplace correction comes out to be gamma times P. It is not just P, but it is equal to gamma times P. So, therefore, the speed of the sound wave, it is equal to gamma into P divided by rho. Whenever the values are substituted for air at standard temperature and pressure, the value of velocity of the longitudinal wave comes out to be 332 meter per second, which is very close to what has been found experimentally. So, this is about Newton's attempt to measure the speed of the sound in air, and then Laplace has made some correction in the Newton's attempt. Now, we can discuss some factors which affect the speed of the sound in air. Number one is the density. More is the density, lesser will be the speed, because velocity it varies as reciprocal to the density. Second factor, it is the, we can say, moisture, or we can say humidity. Humidity, it is nothing but the water vapors, and the density of water vapor is less than the density of the air particles. So, whenever in the atmosphere humidity, or we can say moisture increases, means the particles, or we can say water vapors increases, the overall density of the air decreases. When density decreases, that means the velocity of the sound wave will increase. So, therefore, sound travel faster on a rainy day than a dry day. Third factor, it is the temperature. Velocity of the sound is also directly proportional to the root of the temperature. More is the temperature, more will be the speed of the sound waves. That means, on a hot day, sound travels faster. Similarly, pressure, speed, as already clear, it is directly proportional to root of pressure. So, in a high pressure region, the sound travels faster. We can also discuss the effect of wind on the speed of the sound waves. Suppose that sound is traveling with some speed v in this direction, and air is also having the speed along this direction. Then the speed of the sound wave, it will be equal to the speed of the sound wave plus in a stationary medium. This is the speed of the sound wave in a stationary medium, and speed of the sound of air, speed of the air, it is u. So, whenever sound travels along the direction of the, we can say, motion of the air, the total speed of the sound wave increases. It becomes v plus u. And suppose that sound is traveling along this direction with velocity v, and air is traveling at an angle theta to its direction. Then the component of this speed along the direction of the sound, it is u cos theta. So, therefore, the speed of the sound, in that case, it is given as v plus u cos theta. Now comes the final thing, which is about superposition of the sound waves, or waves simply, which is equally applicable for the sound waves also. So, what is superposition of the sound waves? When one or two waves try to meet, or we can say meet at one common point, they try to impose their own effect on this point in the medium. So, at a point, whenever two or more than two sound waves meet, the phenomena, it is called as superposition of the sound waves. So, one wave, it will have some displacement y1, which can be written as the equations which we have discussed earlier. Similarly, the second wave, it may have the displacement y2. Then what will be the displacement of the resultant wave? It will be given by the principle of superposition. So, what principle of superposition says? Principle of superposition says that the net displacement after superposition of the sound waves, it is given by the sum of the displacements of the individual sound waves which are superposing. Superposing means meeting at a point. So, whatever their individual displacements, they are just added in order to find out the displacement of the, we can say, resultant displacement of the wave. These two waves will give rise to a new wave which will have some displacement, which is called as resultant displacement. So, it will be found by using this principle of superposition. This superposition of the sound waves also leads to the formation of beats. So, what are beats? So, whenever two waves, for example, which are of nearly same frequency but not exactly same frequency, they are of slightly different frequency. So, when they impose, or we can say superpose at a point, then they give rise to beat, formation of the beats. And beats are nothing but the we can say alternate positions of maximum and minimum amplitudes. So, whenever two waves meet at a point, they give rise to the formation of the beats. And how do we represent these beats? This is the time, this is the displacement of one or individual wave. Then beats will be formed just as this. I am just drawing one beat formation. This is one wave, other wave will impose on this, and there will be one position where the amplitude of the wave will be maximum, and there will be other point where the amplitude is minimum. So, alternately these amplitudes of maximum, these positions of maximum and minimum amplitudes are formed. This point where amplitude is minimum, it is called as node, and this point where amplitude is maximum, it is called as antinode. And how many beats will be formed every second? It will depend upon their frequencies. So, number of beats formed, it will be equal to the difference, simply the difference of the frequencies of the individual waves, nu 1 minus nu 2. If one, for example, if one is of frequency 450 hertz, other one is of 430 hertz, then the number of beats formed every second will be 20. So, this is how we calculate the beats formed.